Wow. Terry, I told you, surprise. We're on week three, and I told everyone in the school community, and by the way, thank you guys for being a part of our community. But I said, if you don't only watch 1 week of our 5 week class, this is the one. And Terry, I have our superstars from one of your favorite states. We've got Aimee Lee Lucas and Lynette's on as well. And why don't you guys say hello real quick? And we're going to jump into choosing your ideal destination. This is a big one. So, Aimee, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me here. So excited to be joining you.
And Lynette, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. How's things going?
I'm great. Things are busy. The weather's a little chilly, but we're still out here showing properties and working.
And Terry, you know why I invited these two, because these are two of our top realtors in our premier realtor network, and they both left California. Terry, good morning. How are you, Terry?
I'm great, David. Yeah, three out of the four of us used to live in California and decided to leave. And it's great to have Aimee and Lynette on here because they can tell us why they left.
And Aimee, why don't you start first and just kind of say where you lived in California and where you ended up and what you do now for people that want to leave California?
Great question. I was born and raised in San Francisco. I lived in LA for 13 amazing years. And I followed my sister and we moved to Oak Ridge, which is just the suburbs of Knoxville. Been here since COVID. Time has flown by. I'm about to be in year five, proud realtor and advocate of the greater Knoxville area. And as far as my fellow Californians, I know you're going through a lot right now, but some of the things that I offer for those that are affected, free inspection, free appraisal. I'm putting credit towards furniture, childcare, whatever you guys need, I'm here for you.
Well, thank you so much. And Lynette, you're in one of our most favorite cities, and it's kind of a secret. So go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. Lynette, tell us a little bit about your story.
Hi. Well, I'm here in Hambling County. And I've been here since 2021. And my family left because of the crime and the cost of living and the education system. And we wanted to give our family a better life, a less stressful life. Kind of back to old times where people have manners and everyone's nice and they wave and say hello. And we wanted to give them that rural lifestyle that we grew up with. And I'm from Los Angeles, Northern LA County in the high desert, and born and raised, lived there my whole life. And we're here now and we love it and wouldn't trade it for the world. But what I do for people is I think when people come here, they don't really know where they want to be. And so I'm happy to cover all areas. We can look at land, we can look at homes, and I kind of teach them what they need to know about the area.
Hey, and real quick, both ladies are in East Tennessee. Aimee's in the Knoxville area, she said. Lynette is in Hambling County, which Morristown is the county seat, as I recall. By the
Yes.
way, we did southern tours, a southern tour of both of those wonderful towns. Love both of them. I have my Leaving California coffee mug with me today that we created in Morristown, Tennessee. And if you want to see those videos, you go to our YouTube channel, Leaving California YouTube channel, and you can see extensive videos from both of those towns and the other cities that we visited.
Well, let's dive in. We have a few slides. I like to keep these lessons about 20 or 30 minutes. And basically, we're talking today about choosing your ideal destination. We have our Facebook groups, and one of the biggest questions that people ask us is where to go. I'm not really sure. I know I need to leave California, but I don't know where to go. So we're going to dive in. This first slide, let me get my slides going here, is the key facts to consider. Now, cost of living, this is a big one. And one of the reasons that I fell in love with Morristown was the cost of living and the house prices were so amazing. And talking about the job market, knowing what opportunities you have there, the climate is going to be very, very important. The weather's going to be different, I got to tell you. And then, is it a cultural fit for you? Aimee, why don't you talk about the key factors to consider real quick, and then I want to hear from Lynette real quick on this slide.
I absolutely love Knoxville. I'm a city girl, through and through. I love the suburbs, but if you ask me, I fell in love with Nashville first. And I looked at Nashville and I was like, oh, I'm a mom. I need to go to Knoxville, which we are very family friendly. And I get a little bit of city going downtown with, Gay Street, Market Square, Old City. Oak Ridge, particularly, we focus on STEM, so science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and art. So we'll do STEAM. Maryville's really known for football, but culturally, for me, being of Asian descent and growing up in such a diverse melting pot, we have one of the largest Asian Knoxville festivals east of Mississippi. So if you have any doubt in your mind, like come explore this town. I think it's an amazing fit. And we have a lot of scientists and engineers, mathematicians, and doctors here.
Aimee, I know you're super passionate about your town, and some people may not want to go to Tennessee, but if you could give them advice about these four things, cost of living, job market, and they're thinking about where to go, and maybe it's not Tennessee, who knows where they're going, what would you tell them?
Tennessee has a hidden gem. If you asked me, we sit in a valley that's kind of protected by a lot of uh, mountains. I'm not saying that we don't get hurricanes. Every now and then it'll come. Job market, it's thriving here. Cost of living, we're not as low as Morristown, but there are different pockets of Tennessee. Like our cost of living is different from Chattanooga, Nashville, etc. If you want a slower pace of life and quiet suburbs, definitely go check out Morristown.
Hmm.
Um, our gas is still under $3, which is amazing. I love when I see $2.50. And houses, I think people are shocked. Prior to COVID, we were 189,000 median. Right now, we are tipping under 400,000. Knoxville has the highest price increase across the country in the past 5 years. So this is not a place if you're looking for a
Yeah.
$200,000 home.
And Lynette, what advice would you give on these key factors?
So, what Morristown has that's really interesting and super helpful is the Chamber of Commerce has a website where they have a tool that you can use to plug in what you make in your home state and what it translates to what you need to make here to have the same quality of life. And they break it down to loaves of bread, gas, everything. And so, if you're living in LA making $100,000 a year, you may only need to make $50,000 a year to have the same quality of life here in the Morristown area. The climate definitely, if you're not used to having a little snow once in a while, could be challenging. It does get a little gloomy. It's not sunshine all the time, but I prefer that type of weather. So it's really up to your preferences. The job market, Morristown is one of the biggest industrial areas in Tennessee. There's tons of work, tons of overtime. Industries moving here like crazy. Our Chamber of Commerce actually goes to Europe and courts different companies to come set up shop here in Morristown. So there's a lot of work here. And culturally, we do have a large Hispanic population here. I see a lot of mixed families. There's a lot going on here. It's just overall a very welcoming place.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. And I know we're probably sounding like we're being biased and saying you need to go to Tennessee. We know that you guys are going to probably go to Texas, you're going to go to Georgia, you're going to go to Florida. But again, on this school, we're trying to teach you some things. And it was kind of the luck of the draw. We ended up picking our top two realtors from Tennessee. So they're very, very passionate about that city. And
Yeah,
again, and go ahead, Terry, what do you want to say?
yeah, just one more thing that I want to comment on. When we were in the Knoxville area, we met with the Blount County school leaders. I'm telling you, Blount County schools are head and shoulders above anything I ever saw in California as far as their how they educate. And then I'd love to hear Lynette talk about the special needs programs they have in Morristown. Lynette, can you address that, please?
Yeah, I have a special needs daughter, and leaps and bounds. The public school system here in Hamblin County has just been phenomenal. We also have a special needs park that a local philanthropist paid for from his family, paid for it from his estate when he passed away. And so look up Jolly Park in Morristown, Tennessee, and it's mind blowing. It's just it's just been a blessing to be here.
And this is why, guys, that we have these resources. And it doesn't matter what city you choose. We have realtors that are just like this. And we're going to get to that. Let's move on because I have a slide that actually addresses where should you go. And the next one, they have websites in each community. And if you guys are interested in Tennessee, these guys can give you websites that'll get you connected. They can connect you to local groups. And they also have resources to get job resources and talk about, finding a new job and so forth. So as far as doing your research, this is really an important part of your experience of getting out and picking your destination. Did you guys want to add anything to this slide? No?
No.
Okay. All
I
right. We're
believe that, sorry, I believe there's a website that Lynette talked about with the chamber, but there's one that you can use for everywhere across the country and around the world to compare your pay and income to the cost of living. I'll find it for you. And then if you're looking for school systems, kgis.org, you can type in any Knox County address. It'll tell you what it is zoned for elementary, middle, and high school. And yeah, I'll send them over.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And again, we want you to start getting your mindset right. We talked about that in week one, but thinking about brainstorming and listing everything with your ideal destination. If you are lucky enough to be going to Knoxville or going to Morristown, Tennessee, and you're able to talk to one of our top agents, these are things that we've been talking about for years, and they will help you when you're putting together everything you want in your ideal destination. And by having access to these realtors, you're able to ask questions and you're able to get to the bottom of it pretty quick. So we would suggest that you identify your top 5 must-haves. I mean, this is very important. And then you can kind of score and compare them. And we recommend that you have top 3 picks. So when they're choosing their destination, and both of you guys actually left California, and you had to figure out where you were going to go, what would you share about having your top ideal destinations?
Well, I guess I'll go first. Personally, I was looking in Crossville, Tennessee, and Middle Tennessee, because they also have phenomenal special needs programs. From from toddler age to all the way through adulthood. However, when I visited there, it wasn't my favorite, and so I think taking the time to visit multiple areas in a state you're interested in is important because you could really miss finding your perfect place.
For sure. That's great advice. Aimee?
I agree. I have a lot of clients that come out and they don't just look at homes. They come out and they look at churches. They ask me about what they're interested in, their hobbies or activities. Personally, I love to go salsa dancing, so I would recommend that you take something that you enjoy and do an exploratory trip, just like Lynette said. Come during the weekdays. I know everyone loves to come on a weekend, but you get a feel and a sense of traffic. Um, and you can actually see how much these little cities are growing during those rush hour traffics.
Right. And so we're going to give you an assignment. I mean, we're here to help and we're here to give you resources. And the thing is, by having over 350 licensed realtors that are our premier realtors across the country, we're able to have these different resources. So what we really want you to do is try to figure out what your top 3 destinations are. Terry and I can connect you with these realtors across the country to get you answers and to really get to the nitty gritty of what that city is like. Make sure you gather hard data, doing your research costs, state taxes, and typical salaries. This is something that they have at their fingertips. Like you don't have to go and do all the work and the research. We understand that you can go type in anything you want to Google, but getting a response from Google is not the same as calling Aimee or calling Lynette and getting actual facts because they live there. And then evaluate your logistics as well. You want to find out about commute distances. What is the average commute time? What are the traffic patterns? And maybe a little bit about public support, public transport. These are all very important things. Terry, you want to tackle this one a little bit?
Yeah, I'd like to just real quick. If your number one priority is finding a place east of the Rockies that has 80-degree summers with no humidity, you're gonna run out of steam pretty quick there because it doesn't work that way in the South or in the East. of the Rockies. You're going to get humidity. You're going to get 90-degree plus days. But there is so much else. And by the way, there are plenty of days of the year where it's not that way. But yeah, this is all great information. You just want to make sure you're thinking through everything of your daily routine, whether you have children, whether you're retired. Think through your daily routine and what your likes and dislikes are, and think through that process when you're deciding on where you want to look.
Exactly. And then having the advanced strategies, this is where the realtors really come into play. Aimee, did you want to add anything to that from Terry about making this decision? And by the way, guys, like we don't take this lightly. This is probably one of the biggest decisions that you're ever going to make. And the good news is we've had people that have moved to one city and they felt like it really wasn't right, but then they moved to another city. But we would like for you to get it right the first time. Aimee, go ahead.
I think you guys bring up a really great point. Terry touched base on your everyday activities. With Knoxville being not as booming or as loud as some of the cities in California, I tend to see a lot of people who can't find a home for themselves, who can't attach to friends. They kind of get bored and they want to move somewhere else. So I think getting to know your activities and finding the friend group is really important. Finding your tribe is really important. I actually connect a lot of clients who are exploring with other clients. As a realtor, I can't necessarily steer you in certain directions ever when it comes to crimes, school. We have to give you hard facts and data and websites. But some of my clients who've been in new builds, purchased, lived in there, has seen the home settled, can give their, testimonial on if a builder is good or not. So making those connections and relying on those realtors to give you some real data versus what you can find on Google and YouTube is really important.
And then the in-person visits, that's something, Lynette, I think you shared. Did you look at several different cities? I think you shared that. And for our members, maybe you could talk about the in-person visits.
Yeah, so our family flew into Nashville, spent 3 days there, went through Crossville, spent some time in Sevierville, Gatlinburg area, and then we ended up in the Morristown area to visit someone. And so, we really kind of hit 4 different areas. And my biggest advice, having now been here for some years, whatever cities or towns you're interested in, add the local Facebook groups. Add the traffic and crime Facebook groups. You'll see the good, the bad, the ugly. You'll get an idea of what it's like there and what there is to do. And if you think it's going to be a good fit for you.
Understood. And then Aimee, I really want you to tackle this one. I know you're getting ready to meet a client, but if you could just address this rental versus purchase. I know this is something you're very passionate about. Give us your 2 cents on renting versus buying when you move to your new city.
If you can find a home that offers midterm temporary housing, go for it. I don't think there's anything wrong with buying or leasing. I think it's a great way for you to find out where to plant your roots. Moving is a very expensive and strenuous activity. I moved many, many times in my lifetime, probably 11 times while in LA. And so when it comes to being a realtor, obviously we are going to advocate for purchasing, but I purchased my first home. I'm currently moving and going to be leasing in a luxury apartment. So I advocate for both. Do both. Find your home and then try not to move again.
And by having a licensed realtor, they can really give you a cross comparison on what both of those scenarios look like. And this is where it really is key that you have the right person. We're going to be wrapping up here. I think we're getting to the end of our slides in our week 3. I'm so excited that I was able to have Aimee and Lynette. We have worksheets for you. One of the things that we do a lot is we do polls and we see where the popular cities and trends are in our groups, and we're able to share that data with you. And then we have, like I said, we have the tools and the different consultations that you can get from our realtors. We have a free moving consultation where you can talk to we have a national director for moves in America, and his name's Jeff, and he can totally talk to you about if you should use pods, if you should do a U-Haul or whatever. And so to conclude, let's kind of recap what we talked about, Terry. And when we're thinking about the new destination, Why don't you just recap real quick for me, Terry, what we spoke about today?
Sure. There's a lot of things to consider when it comes to moving. You don't want to just say, we've got to get the heck out of California and then Google a place and say, that's where we're going. You need to do a lot of research, a lot of consideration. Now, by the way, some people do that and they're perfectly happy, but God bless them. That's great. But you want to consult with not just with us, we'd be happy to talk to you, but also reach out to professionals like Aimee and Lynette, especially people who have left California and can give you their experiences. And I personally have left California after 35 years. We're here to help. Just know we're here to help. Reach out to us and we can get you started.
And then looking ahead to next week is week 4, and again, I'm really proud of you guys for listening to these videos because we know they help. We have members that tell us that these videos really help them when they're making the decision to leave California. We're going to be talking about on-the-ground logistics and networking and what it's like when you get to your new city. And then, Lynette, I want you to wrap up with encouragement because I'm sure that when you initially decided to leave California, and you had a child that needed some special attention and you had a lot of things to think about for your family. Maybe you could share some words of encouragement to our members that are thinking about leaving California and they're just not sure.
Sure. I mean, it's really, really hard to leave your support group and your team of people that help you with a family member or child with special needs, but it exists everywhere, and you really just have to lean into, researching where you're going, finding those groups, and it will come together if it's supposed to, honestly. You will know pretty quickly, if an area is not going to work for your needs. I know, we're within 45 minutes of Children's Hospital, and we have every resource we need right here in Morristown. We have therapy, we have, you name it. I mean, you really just have to do that research and be sure and coordinate and talk to people and talk with other people who have, similar situations, and, you'll figure it out, but you have to do the work.
Well, as I wrap up this, I'm glad you talked about that because engage with community is so important. And when you're talking with like-minded people about your situation, it just seems to come together better than trying to do it on your own. So we encourage you to talk to the community and talk to us because we do this every day on a daily basis. So with that being said, I'm really proud of you. I'm super glad. And if you don't mind, we would love for you to share with us your top 3 destinations. You can send me an email, send Terry or I an email of what your top 3 destinations are, and we can get those resources out. You can actually send that to me at Las Vegas at davidberryrealtor.com. And I appreciate you making it through week 3. You're on your way to getting out of California. And any closing words from our founder, Terry Gilliam?
You're going to find people all over the country who have left California. So you're going to run into a lot of like-minded people like Lynette and me and Aimee and hundreds of thousands more who left California for a better life. Welcome to America.
Thank you, Terry.